Hello and welcome to Peza Horror Stories. Before I begin tonight's tale, I want you to pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what would you do if something came into your home? Not to harm you, but to help you. Would you accept it, or would you fear what that help might cost? If you love stories that blur the line between kindness and terror, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because tonight's story comes from Louisiana, 2017, and it still haunts me. I was 16 years old the first time I saw it. I'd been spending most of my afternoons on the porch, keeping watch while my mom rested inside. She was sick to cook, too sick to clean, too sick to even talk much. Most of the housework had fallen on me, and I didn't mind. I loved her, but I was exhausted. That's when the cat showed up. It was black as midnight, its fur smooth and glossy, its yellow eyes reflecting the last light of sunset. It sat just beyond the steps, staring up at me like it was waiting for something. I remember whispering, "Hey, little guy," and setting down a saucer of milk. It padded forward silently, lapped up the milk, and then it was gone. No sound, no footsteps, just gone. The next day, the same time, the same place it returned. And then again, every evening without fail, that black cat sat on my porch, staring. After a week, I started to get used to it. The cat became a routine. I would pour milk, set it down, and it would drink without a sound. I told myself it was just a stray, maybe living in the woods across the road. But then more came. First, another black one, then a white one, then a tabby. Soon my porch looked like a gathering place. 5 cats, 7, 10. Every evening they appeared, silent, patient, watching. My mother, weak but still sharp, looked at me one night and said, "Honey, those cats aren't strays. Do you know what's across the road?" I knew. Everyone in town knew. Across from our house, behind the rusted iron fence and moss-covered oaks, was St. Mary's Cemetery. At first I thought nothing of it. Cats wander, right? They go where food is. But then the strange things began. One night after cooking dinner, I left the dishes in the sink, too tired. I planned to do them in the morning. But when I woke up, every dish was washed. Every spoon dried. The sink, spotless. Another night I forgot to sweep. In the morning, the floor shone. At first, I thought my mother had pushed herself despite her illness. But when I asked her, she only shook her head and said, "No, wasn't me." That's when I realized the cats weren't just watching. They were helping. I should have been grateful. But I wasn't, because help like that doesn't come free. The cats began to gather inside, at first just on the porch. Then, one slipped in through a cracked window, another through the door. They didn't eat, they didn't drink, they only watched. Sometimes, I'd catch one perched on the counter, staring at the dirty dishes. Then, the moment I looked away, I'd hear clinks and scrapes, and the dishes would be clean. One morning, I opened the fridge, and the jug of milk I'd left half full was empty. The bowl on the porch had been licked clean, but Mom swore she hadn't touched it. My aunt came to visit one weekend. She saw the cats crowding around the porch, their eyes glinting in the dusk, and her face turned pale. She pulled me aside and whispered, "Don't you know, cats like those don't come from the woods. They come from the graveyard, and once they come in, they don't leave." I laughed nervously, trying to brush it off. But her eyes told me she wasn't joking. That night, I lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening, and sure enough, heard it, soft scratching. Not on the door, not on the windows, but inside. By now, I couldn't ignore it. I went to Father Thomas, the priest at St. Mary's Church. He was old, white-haired, his voice steady as stone. I told him everything, the black cat, the milk, the dishes, the way they moved without sound. He listened, then said quietly, "My child, those aren't animals, they're spirits. They're drawn to you because you fed them, you invited them." My stomach twisted. So what do I do? How do I make them leave? He shook his head slowly. "You can't. Once you accept their gifts, you owe them. They may help you, but they'll never let you go." I returned home shaken. As I stepped onto the porch, all 10 cats sat in perfect silence, their heads turning to follow me. I whispered, "What do you want from me?" And for the first time, one of them moved. The black one, the first one, walked forward, rubbed against my leg, and purred. But that purr wasn't normal. It was too deep, too human. I pushed it away, ran inside, locked the door. But when I turned around, the dishes were already clean, the floor swept, the bed made. They had been inside, again. I wish I could tell you it ended, that Father Thomas came to bless the house, or that I found the courage to move. But life doesn't always give you neat endings. Mom died 2 years later, and when she did, the cats were there, lined up on the porch, silent, as if waiting. I moved away eventually, got married, started a new life. But sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, I find my kitchen sparkling clean, even though I left it messy. Sometimes, milk disappears from the fridge, and sometimes, just sometimes, I see a pair of yellow eyes watching from the corner of the room. That was the cat that wasn't a cat, told in my own words. If you ever see a black cat waiting on your porch, be careful before you feed it, because once you do, it might never leave you alone. Thank you for listening to Peza Horror Stories. If you want more tales like this, don't forget to subscribe, because the shadows are full of stories, and I'll be here to tell them.